right, we're going to be doing Wonderful Grace of Jesus in the key of C on the bass guitar. This is going to be a quick little lesson video. I start off with a little introduction. I'm kind of riffing on like a bass or tenor part. I think the way it's written for the tenor part is something like this. But I wanted to walk back up to the high C so I could play just a blues chord walk down. So, if you hear that blues walk, I'm just playing that in reverse. So the intro is that high C, 5th fret, G string. Just walk that down, B and A, so down a fret, down 2 frets, back up, all the way back up to C, and then playing that walk down, I go the 7, so down 2 frets to the 3rd fret, to the 5th, so that'd be the D string, 5th fret, and then coming in beat 1 of the first measure, back on the root. So that's playing through the verse. So after that intro, what I'm doing after I do that walk down, starting on the root, the C, the A string, 3rd fret. I'm just kind of doing like a root 5th thing. So that root 5th pattern is up a string and then on that string up 2 frets. So the C being 3rd fret, A string, go up to the D string and up 2 frets. That'll get you G, which is your 5th. Then I'm really outlining that next chord, which is not a C, it's a C diminished. So a diminished is going to have a flat 5 and a flat 3, but if we're playing root 5th, we're just flatting that 5. So instead of the G being 5th fret on the D string, it's flat, so we're going to just drop that. And I'll play that with either finger, either my middle or my ring. But you're starting on the C, C diminished, so this is where, it's already doing some really interesting things with that diminished chord. But then it goes back to just a regular C major into a G major, which I end up playing a G7 because I just really lean into the blues, just making everything a 7. Just flat a bunch of things because there's a lot of flats, a lot of sharps, just make it blues and it'll sound good, kind of a deal, So on a lot of these I end up playing a 7, so I go to my G. So again, C, your 5 is the G anyway, so when it switches, G chord, G7, back to C, and then it goes E over B. So I just drop that C down a fret to B. So you end up having this slight walk down because after that it goes to A minor. So you're basically playing C, B over an E chord down to an A. So let me just start it over. Let me get back to where we are so you can hear it in context. let's go up until that point. So we've gone to where we're C, E over B, into the A minor. So I like playing it up here in this fifth position. You can play it open, but you've got to pay a lot more attention to, are you muting with your left hand or your right hand? And I'm not really a bassist, so I figure I can mute a lot easier with my left hand up here in this fifth position. So you play A minor for 2 measures. Then it goes G, D7, G, and then I just end up playing G7 with that F down here. So after A minor, you play G, D, D7 with the C, back to G, G major, but again we play it with that 7, and then there's a little bit where the pattern starts to repeat here because you go C to C diminished, back to C, so you can kind of play what we've already played at the beginning, that so that's where it starts to get different again. So after C, C diminished, back to C, but then it goes to an F major. So instead of doing, that's almost kind of a blues thing again, but instead of doing like the 7 like I did at the beginning, now this is going to be the C, with having that 7, instead of doing the 7, because on an F that would be, that, you know, it'd be a little bit different. I'm doing the 6 instead of the 7, so I can use an open string with D. So when it switches to F, I rock that down, you know, so F right there, 3rd fret of the D string, then I play C right beneath it, back up to the D string, but I leave it open, and then come back to F. So and then we're back to that F sharp, and in this case it is an F sharp, it's not a G flat, because music, right? So now from the F chord we're going to an F sharp diminished. The song's all over the place, I love it. And here, I just hang on that note, but what I do is I follow the rhythm of the melody. So let me start this kind of second half of the verse back over. So we'll just go to there for now. So what we did was we did that kind of F set or F6 with the D that kind of adds that relative minor sound. Then we're following the rhythm of the melody. So there it goes F sharp minor up to C, so I'm playing the 5th, so I can just keep that walking, you know, chromatic F, F sharp, G, because again, do some chromatic stuff, keep it kind of bluesy, I just love it, you know? So F, F, F sharp, C over G, and here's another one, it goes to A flat major. But what do we have in A flat major? A flat, C, E flat, A, C sharp, E, so A flat, C, E flat. Yeah, so anyway, now I can play that high C again. And that sets us back up for the riff we did earlier. So I do some chromatic stuff, and then I do a callback to the beginning because we're in that last phrase of the verse, which is what I was riffing on in the intro. So let's start back where it goes to F. So I do a little bit of a fill there, and it's basically doing the chromatic, or not chromatic, excuse me, the pentatonic, the minor pentatonic scale, and I'm walking down from A, so 2nd fret on the G string, open G string, 2nd fret of the D string, open D string. And then again, coming in on the first beat of the new part of the song, the chorus, very strongly with that root note on the downbeat. That fill is super simple because really all it is, 2nd fret, open, 2nd fret, open. Back to the root right there, that C on the 3rd fret, but and you can kind of play around with the timing, get a little bit more syncopated maybe. I just kept it, pretty much 8th notes, just maybe I kind of put a dotted note and then put a flag, on. You can kind of play with it. That's more just like a feel thing. So if you've got a groove for it, put your groove in there. If you want to keep it real simple, just straight 8th notes. But that's up to you. That's how you play it though. Right now I'm going to do the chorus, more the bass side. So the chorus, of course, starts out where in the written music, the male vocal line takes the melody. So you're walking up the C major scale, then it walks back down a little bit. It jumps a little bit, but those first couple notes are just C, open D, E 2nd fret, F 3rd fret, open G, 2nd fret to the A, open G, F on the 3rd of D, open G. Now you're going to want to mute that with either hand, or both, try both hands even, because then you're going to be ringing out an open D. So if you've got D or D and G both ringing out open, it's just not going to sound good. It's going to sound muddy, doesn't really blend well. So again, you're kind of walking up the scale. So this is more of that pentatonic scale. So where you're only using, that root, but then the 2nd fret. And being able to get that open string allows you to, while you're playing the open string, slide up, because you're going to need all the way up here to the 7th fret here in just a second. So that starts out. So C, open, up to the 2, the E on the 2nd fret of the D string, open G as you're sliding your hand up, C on that 5th fret, and I usually play this with my middle finger, down to B, and then pinky up the 7th fret, middle finger they're the G string, so G string 7, 5, 4. So you're ending on the B note. So let's do that, because that was kind of tricky for me to get down initially. Because you're moving way down here, and I'm kind of playing, keeping my thumb basically around the 2nd and 3rd fret, roughly, kind of tucked in that area where I can stretch and play first position, the 1st fret, when I need to, but pretty comfortably be playing. I guess really my thumb's like it's right in front of the 2nd fret in the 3rd space. So I'm kind of right here on the back of the neck for most of the song. But all of a sudden here, I've got to slide way up because I'm going to be playing that 7. So you're playing, that pentatonic kind of thing. And then slide up as soon as you're playing. Oh, that ain't right. So, C, up a string to D, up a string to G, and you're sliding up to basically the 5th fret. So you're doing G string, 5th fret, 4th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret, 4th fret. Here is where I kind of lose my train of thought originally, where I just can't seem to figure out exactly what I did. So I'm going to get you fairly close. This will be very playable, and if you work it up, nobody's ever going to know that this was something that I'm coming up with on the spot basically right now, just based on the chord chart. So you've played. So I switch here from playing melody, because again, at this point, the female parts are taking the melody and the written music. So now I'm going to go back to playing rhythm. So, while those lines are going on in the vocal, the higher than the mountain, sparkling like a fountain, all sufficient grace for even me, while those lines are going on, I'm playing just basically strict rhythm here. So after doing your big, slide up, 7, 5, 4, you're going to come back in, and the chord here is G, so we're going to play the high G here, the 5th fret on the D string. So it switches down to C. Actually, I'm going to kind of play through that way you can hear what's going through my mind. So I'm going to start at the beginning. I'm probably going to do that walk down into the beginning of the chorus. So you're going in, you're starting G, 5th fret, and then you're going to play the 5th right beneath it. And that kind of walks down into the C. So we're back in our C root position down here. So after doing, it goes to a D chord, so I go back up, so I'm playing D on the 5th fret of the A string. Again, doing a root 5th, so the 5th right beneath it, and walking that down to, after D goes to G. and then doing like before, playing the F, so making it a G7. So I start following the melody, just playing the root of C. I'm playing the low G when it switches to the G chord, but then doing the 7, because that's what's written for the vocal line, sing it. The rhythm, the melody. Shame, my sin and shame. O, magnify, it goes to the F sharp diminished. So something like that. What I'm doing there is when it switches to that F sharp diminished, again, just doing that following the rhythm, and then it goes to the chord goes to C, so I'm playing high C up the 5th fret of the G string, right beneath it playing the 5th of G, but then it switches to an F chord, so I go back right up to C and down to F, the 3rd fret of the D string, and then I go back to that same melody line that we were riffing on in the intro. As the chords switch back from C, goes into G and back up to C. Hopefully I went through that slowly enough and concisely enough to be understood, because we're going to move on to, if I can remember how all the vocal lines go, the way to play the melody to it. So the chorus, so let's say we were going from the 2nd verse or 3rd verse into the chorus, but you're taking the melody instead of the bass line. So the melody is on an E. So instead of starting where the bass does, down on that C, when you do that chromatic line, you're going to end up going G string A, 2nd fret, to open, D string 2nd fret E, to open, and then right back to E, because that's the vocal line. And see, in the melody there, even though it's a G chord, we're playing F, so it's really putting the 7 really prominently, because I mean it is the vocal, it's the melody is on the 7 right there. So you're just playing E, F, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret. Super simple there. And then here's the great thing. Again, you're doing this vocal, back and forth with the written female parts and the written male parts. So this is going to be incredibly similar here. It's a little different. I was having to remember how that went, and I think that's right. So you're basically walking up the C major scale, same as before. But what you do is you only go up to G. So C, 3rd fret A string, D string, open G, right back to F. So you don't have to slide up for that part, that's coming. But what happens is you're going to play C, 2nd fret on the D string, open G, G, 4th fret, playing a B note, right back to open G. And again, here's where muting is really important, because after G, we go to a D major chord and we're playing F sharp. So if you have both of those ringing out, that sounds horrible. When it switches to the D chord, is you're playing F sharp. So F sharp, G flat, right here, keeps coming up in this song. Just a walk down and back up. 4th fret, D string, 2nd fret, open, 2nd fret, 4th fret. Okay, there's it. I'm having to remember as I go. So 4th fret, 2nd fret, open, 2nd, 4th fret, and then pinky up here playing the 5th fret of the G string, and you're walking down. So C, 4th fret to B, 2nd fret to A, open G. So let's kind of go through that again. Let's see. So it's got that kind of echo that's added right there. So how you play that? So when you walk down 5th fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret, open G, it does that quick 2nd fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret, back to open. And then this is where I think it actually goes back to that original melody. Can't get my words out here. That original melody. Now this is the part we've all been waiting for. So, you know, those lines we went over before. Messed up a little bit in there, but that's okay. So this new part over F sharp diminished. So you go A, I slide it up to C. So G string, 2nd fret, playing A, slide to the 5th fret. So my thumb is kind of placed right around that 3rd fret, maybe like more in the 4th fret. So let me see if I can kind of show you. So that way when I slide, my thumb stays in the same position and I slide up. So I'll play that. Let me play that here. I mean, my thumb kind of shifts from being like this, and it might slide just a little bit, like an inch, and I angle it as I slide. Or you can almost, you know, if you do it right, after sliding up, if you can, you can almost just reach back for that A, and then your thumb's not really sliding as much, but you know, just practice it, see what you can feel comfortable with there. So G string A, sliding up to C, 5th fret. So you're just playing up 2 frets to up to a D, and then right back to C. Then you've got to slide just a little bit. I mean, unless you can just stretch your fingers comfortably a little bit more than what I can, because I end up just, kind of making that string dead if I don't slide my hand just a little bit. So that's probably the most tricky part of the entire song. That slide up to C, then you're playing D, back to C, E, back to C, F to D. So here we're talking about the 10th fret on the G string to the 7th fret. I've practiced this a few times today, and I've played through it even once or twice doing this. I'm still messing it up. So this is, I personally think, the trickiest part. But once you get that positioning figured out, where you're placing your hand for that slide from the A to the C, and then right there, shift your hand kind of up. Again, just the slightest little, basically sliding up 1 or even half of a fret to get up to the 9. And then the 10 to the 7. You just kind of got to be careful there, but you're going to hear it, you're going to get used to it, you're going to figure out, okay, 2, 5, 7, 5, 9, 5, 10, 7, 12. You'll get it figured out pretty quick though. And again, try to be muting those, because you don't want a lot of that string scraping. So again, muting, super crucial. You're kind of sliding around, it's tough. I mean, you're going from the 2nd fret in the matter of like 3 seconds, getting eventually all the way up to the 12th fret. And then to finish out the song after that, so I'm playing with my pinky the G note, 12th fret of the G string, the super high G, and then a B, which is on the D string, that would be the 9th fret. So going down a string and back a couple frets to 9, and then up to the C. As I lift my finger up, it mutes itself while so I lift my finger off and it mutes as I do that, and I shift just a bit where I can play my normal, pinky and index finger, like most of the time you're going to be playing on bass. And again, I do kind of a bluesy C7 thing. So you could play that down here. So I just, since I'm up on this C, which is it's the same note, just play it on a different string, couple frets up. So that's what I did in my recording. But when I was thinking about this video, I was thinking of other things you could do. slide that note down, getting a little bit further down into the bass range, and then play that C shape down here around the 3rd and 5th fret. And then in this case, what I'm doing, C on the 5th fret, G string, B flat, the 7, 3rd fret, down to G, 5th fret, D string, back up to B flat, 3rd string, and I'm holding this C, and then I fret the low C, and I kind of pluck them together. So you've got the C an octave apart there, and you can kind of let that ring out. So that would go 2, 3, slide it down. So the timing's a little bit different. You know, you're able to play 2 C notes, so you're not really chording, but you're doing an octave coupling, because that sounds pretty good. Or this is another one I came up with when I thought, hey, you know, how did I end that? What other way could I do that? So do that same slide down thing, but now we're going to go back to the same feel and timing of this one. But we're going to do it down here. Some different note choices, and we're going to slide up. Instead of going down to C, we're going to go beneath C, open A, 1st fret, playing that B flat, so throwing that 7 in there, slide into the C. So to play that, kind of that C7 up here that we've been playing, to the 5th, but when you get back up to that high C, switch strings back to A. Anyway, I'm going way overboard here. This is way more information than I know what to do with. So just have fun with it. That's mostly what I played, and I hope this helps, and I hope you have fun playing. So good.